The decade means the period of 10 years. Okay, the period of 10 years is called as a decade. Now a century. Now a century is again a period of 100 years. Remember, when you say a century means the period of 100 years. Okay. Now when you say millennium, now millennium represents the period of 1,000 years. Okay, the millennium represents the period of 1,000 years. For example, second millennium span from the years of 1001 to 2000. That's the second millennium. Okay, so can we say that this is the third millennium? We're in the third millennium. Well, probably in the terms of CE dates. But let's not get confused. This was the basic information that I wanted to give you in this video. Now let's move further. Okay, now I hope that the concept of millennium, century, decade, year, month, week, day is pretty much clear to you. Okay, now let's move further. Now let's try to understand the difference between a common era and before common era. First, we're going to read this out, and then we're going to look at the entire timeline as well, that, how exactly it's working, like how the dates are in the BCE, the dates are from minus to plus, and in the common era in CE, the dates are in a positive number. Okay, so yep, let's get started. Now, the term common era, CE, and before common era are alternatively designed, are designations for the traditional term AD, Anno Domini, meaning in the year of our Lord, and BC, before Christ. The switch to CE and BC is more inclusive and neutral approach intended to be inclusive in various cultures and religions perspective. See, so now it's saying that before the concept of common era and before common era, the people used to say AD, Anno Domini. A lot of people do, say that as well. Even, when I was at your age in grade 6 or grade 7, we used to call AD and BC. All right. And BC means before Christ. So, but, it was very much one religion centric. Okay. If you're talking about Christianity, only Christians can understand this thing. Maybe, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, but it was very specific to only some particular people to understand this thing. So to make it more generalized, to make it more common, to make it more accepted around the world, then we came up with the concept of common era and before common era. Okay, so now let's try to understand that how centuries work, right? Centuries are a period of 100 years, as we just discussed right now, and are commonly used to categorize. It used to commonly categorize and refer to the different eras of history. For example, first century, second century, third century. For example, in first century, we saw Chinese civilization. In second century, we saw Mughal Empire. And then in third century, we witnessed the East India Company when the Britishers took over the Indian subcontinent. Okay, just for an example, these are not the exact dates, but it's saying that we use the term century to refer to 100 years. And what exactly happened in first century, in the first 100 years, second century, another 200 years, third century, another 300 years, like what exactly happened in those times. So to make it more simpler, that's how we came up with the term of centuries. So the naming of centuries is, okay, where did my mice go? Okay, so the naming of the centuries is based on the year that marks the beginning of a century, each century. Here's an example, here's an explanation.